Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today, me, Arne Pilze from Brews.com, from Team Brew. I'm gonna explain you this picture on the screen, plus a bunch of other things, and I'll show you a lot of interesting deck lists. And yeah, let's start with the dilemma. Basically, I would explain this also in an article this week sometime soon, so all the relationships between the cards you see on the screen right now, uh, but mainly right now the temptation is to play the sword and foundry combo plus the visions in some below deck. At the same time, we need to be aware of all the game plans, of all the possible strategies that are available in modern formats right now. And apart from things that you're probably aware of, there are some interesting slice-ins like Goblin Dark Dwellers, like Thing in the Eyes, and Sanctum of Ugin in Tron deck replacing Eye of Ugin. Also, you're probably not aware of the fact that Geist Saint Draft Jeskai decks might be still a real thing in modern. Well, again, a real thing, rather than during the Eldrazi winter, the Mono-Red Goblins deck was doing okay, and I don't see a reason why it cannot actually succeed more or less in the new metagame, because it's a fast deck. It doesn't accept exactly to a bunch of life gain because of board presence. Yes, it's vulnerable to all the sweepers like Supreme Verdict, but then again, you can respam the board very quickly, and you have a bunch of haste creatures, and you can accumulate a second wave to rush in thanks to Goblin Bushwhackers or the other Bushwhacker from Oath, and then basically we have a bunch of different answers for everything that can be possibly done in this format. And incidentally, Jund has most of them. Basically, it has Scavenging Ooze for the sword, Kolgan's Command to break the foundry, Abdicate to kill, whatever it is. And then a bunch of other decks have actually good answers to it, and there's actually, as I found out, so many good answers to the combo for any deck. Like, you have one of the most prominent ones in the form of Stony Silence, yeah, sure. Then you have Suppression Field, making the chain almost unplayable. You have your common Weird Tears, and then among common ones you have Engineered Explosives, but that just deals with one wave. But then Bridge actually locks down that combo as well if you're low on cards, and that's what Lantern Control normally does. Then you have Harkill's Recall to actually set back your opponent very far behind if you have enough of pressure going on. Knight's Assault Betrayal negates everything. Then you can go for Gifts Ungiven and Unburial Rites, Elish Norn, and then they have to deal with her before they do anything. But that's not a very safe plan, to be honest. But then you have Ghostly Prison from the Endurial Ideal decks. You have Detention Sphere dealing with all the tokens at once if you really want to. Maelstrom Pulse does the same. Then it's actually really interesting that Jace Architect of Thought out of blue control decks is also very good against that combo, because you just uptick Jace and all their whole army doesn't do anything, but at the same time they would gain a lot of life every turn. So you need some way to have an, let's say, infinite combo, or you need to have a really good win condition that will actually win in time once you draw it later on in the game. So there are those considerations. Then among surprising and other surprising answers, you have Python Needle and Phyrexian Revoker. These are not very consistent, but Python Needle from Lantern Control is a very flexible card, and it's natural for that deck. But then you have Golgari Charm and Ragdos Charm, which are both cool. By the way, Goblin Pile Driver with protection from blue is actually pretty spicy against that combo as well, because the tokens are actually blue. And that leads us to also cards like Grey Sable Stack and Skylasher, which are not only pro-blue creatures, but also decent against control decks because they can't be countered. And one of the counter decks for this Foundry Sword deck would be some tuned blue control deck of another type. A card that is missing in the picture, I'm gonna show it later actually. So to counter control decks, then you might turn to cards like Frondel Astro, Luxon Smatter, Dauntless Escort to counter verdicts and such. So be aware of that Tron doesn't saves you from the verdict. I mean, you can regenerate him, but Damnation and Wrath of God both get it off the board because you can't regenerate it. And then of course Voice of Resurgence, etc. But Vengevine is interesting. On one hand, Vengevine and Dredge decks are graveyard based decks, and you may think that this is not the best time for that kind of stuff, considering that amount of restant pieces in the metagame will rise up. But wait until the dust settles, and then some mid-range and control-ish decks will rise up, like without the combo probably, but it's really good against the combo, and then you can see a good period of time for Dredge to actually be a good deck against all the fair mid-range control-ish decks. So keep that in mind. By the way, you also have a Coin Truth out of combo decks as an answer for their top tier Foundry beatdowns. Right. Other things to notice from here, apart from maybe like the Destructive Rally from Burn, also like is a good card against this deck. So I do think that you want to be fast because control and mid-range will rise up, and those matchups are kinda slow, and you don't want unintentional draws during the tournament. But at the same time, you want some permission and you want some interaction. And I really think that some deck incorporates Race Angel, Kiki-Jiki maybe as well, but also Geysers Ain't Draft, if you're actually tempoing, not like the Kiki-Jiki combo, so you can go like two ways. So those Jesky tempo decks, I believe, are one of the good directions to be in this format. The other one is probably being in the seat of the John Bind range, because you have so many good cards, and a lot of the cards that you naturally play in the deck are actually becoming better right now. Then I also can see a rise in popularity of Death Shadow aggro. Then somebody's probably gonna break the format with something in the Ice deck. Visions is gonna be in many decks. Gifts Ungiven is a tricky card because it could be potentially winner, potentially a loser, depending on the amount of graveyard hate. So maybe in first few weeks it's not gonna be that safe to pilot that deck in a blue-white controller 3-4 color gifts deck or in blue-white Tron. But later on it's probably a good deck choice. What are not good choices are probably a Reanimator, at least for now. So Grace Vengeance fanatics, be very careful. Traditional storm decks like Past and Flames combo decks are not super good right now, because of all the counter spells and all the graveyard hate. But the Ascendancy combo decks are much better because, let's just say, it's much easier for them to start all over again. Yes, they depend on one card to be in play to be resolved, but it's not so troublesome. I'll show you later today why. Living Index probably gonna be bad because counter spells and graveyard hate. Yes, well, no. Red Green Ramp gets Sanctum of Ugin, but I don't know. I don't feel like that's the way you wanna be if you're a Tron fan. I kinda like the blue-white gifts Tron way more right now. You have permission, so you have like more game against control because you lost Ivogin, so that was a big loss. And then gifts does a lot for that deck as well. And yeah, I do like how Affinity with more Edge Champion is positioned in the format because you have protection from all those tokens, so even if they assemble the common, you have it as champion, especially plus the cranial plating, you can actually sometimes race them, especially if Edge Champion gets some counters from Artbound Ravager. So I don't think Affinity is that, and it's a very safe deck choice, but it's not one of my favorites actually. Alright, moving on to actual deck lists. So let's have a look first off at decks from here, because there were some rugged decks that it was really good to look at, and so let's start from spicy stuff basically. This is something ridiculous. It's red-white control. It actually makes sense. It actually didn't run super good, but it was at SG Classic Baltimore this past weekend, and there were 172 players. This deck got like decent-ish finish. Even play some like really funky creatures as win conditions, so just a bunch of angels. It's a very kind of flavorful deck, and so you have some fog effects in here as well, and some protection spells, and some removal, and some sweepers, and blood moons, and ley lines. So yeah, this deck is fun. It's like, I'd just say, if you want your girlfriend to get into Magic and get into more, then give her this deck. She would probably love it. So I think she would probably like it. There is some other Wagyu deck. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is the Ironworks deck. Okay, it's a niche deck. It does exist, but oh my goodness. So top sword. Oh my god. This is so sweet. I'm not sure how competitive it is, but like the guy got to 19th place out of 172, so that can't be that bad. And okay, open the walls, Evergreed, and then a bunch of artifacts with highlights with, of course, Ironworks and a bunch of Wellsprings and such, and you have the sword top tier combo, and you have Emrakul. This deck is so sweet, but people are gonna hate you. People are definitely gonna hate you for this a little bit after the match. Secretly, they probably won't tell that straight in your face. Cybrid is like average. Yeah. So apparently this is a possibility. But yeah, basically I want to point out that Gen Midrange is probably the deck that I would want to be. And second would be some Jeskai tempo with or without Kiki. Just look at it. You have like good heavy hitters. You have dark dwellers for spread, and you have like terminates for whatever big dudes they got. You have discard. You have Maelstrom Pulse and Decays and Colligan's Commander is super awesome. Scamgenus is also super awesome, and yeah, you have Marguerite's in the sideboard. This looks very very smooth. I do like the sideboard quite a bit, that's for sure. There's some cards that I probably would try out in the sideboard, but this looks very decent, very stocked. I do like that he plays like 3 Lilianas. I've seen some lists with just 1, which was totally bonkers in my opinion. Yeah. I don't think there was anything else in here that I wanted to really point out necessarily. The Solar Flow theory really did struck me, but oh yeah, so this is just Esper Gifts deck. Well, not Esper Gifts, that's 4 color gifts. So that's another way you can go, but yeah, this is just funky. So let's just say if you want to play a blue deck but you want to have a lot of fun even at a competitive tournament, so this is the deck for you. You even get Crucible for bonus points and Breach. Oh, and also the Soartopter package. Everybody just wants to try it out apparently. But yeah, this seems like a good shell for the duo. And pretty sweet sideboards, even with a mighty Leviathan to just go the distance with the gifts and bitter rights. Yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. Lots of fun. Okay, some other deck lists that I liked, that I found out. You wouldn't believe it, but this is basically blue-red twin without twin. So you just replace twin with Kiki, and that's pretty much it, except that you have 2 Magus of the Moon and 2 Blood Moons. So let's just say you have a big modern tournament coming up anytime soon, and you had that blue-red twin deck, and you hate people and you hate magic. I'm joking, but you do want some people to suffer. So, and you have like Magus and Blood Moon laying around, and yeah, like why not to put both into the deck? And you don't want to invest super much into a new deck, and you just love this kind of deck so much. So yeah, why not to play this? One thing that is probably missing from this deck, that I think is probably because of the ridiculous price for the card, is the absence of Ancestral Vision from this deck list. But one very cool card that I think a lot of people will miss out, that I see in this sideboard, is this guy, Teferi Mage of Zhalfir. It's called, oh, you have Ancestral Vision in suspend, right? Okay, so how about like you tap out and I play this at the end of your turn? So how you're gonna feel about that? Or let's say I have 6 mana up, so I have a Dispel up as well to counter your counter for my Teferi, and then your life is miserable. So let's just say so this is the card that I was missing from the picture at the beginning, and this is just a great card that I think very few people are actually like thinking about, and I want to congratulate those of you who actually thought of this, how ridiculous it's gonna be like against all those blue decks and visions. So yeah, that's a thing. And then there was some SG in the qualifier. Okay, nothing ridiculous there. Bands, like I've seen it like another time. So ooh, this is actually pretty sweet as well. So you have a band company deck in Modern, which is pretty cool, I think. And you have assortment of really sweet creatures, Courser. Oh yeah, this was actually the deck during the Eldrazi winter as well. Yeah, but this is like mixed up a little bit. But I don't think the deck is dead. come on, like, you have Eternal Witness plus Galactic Company. What could go wrong? You have Voice main deck. You have Knight of Reliquary that you can play turn 2 off of Nobles and Bird, and you even have Trigon Predator for bonus points. And you have this super sweet package of Reflector Mage plus Meddling Mage and Phantasmal Image tying this whole thing up. And then you have a lot of hate cards in the sideboards, like for different reasons. These enchants, these spells, Eidolon. Well, Worship is not gonna be that big right now, but Stony Silence. I think this sideboard could use a Rest in Peace or two. Warrington, Rack, Swogchesk, Mark. Yeah, so this is a thing. Okay, a couple more deck lists before I let you go this time around. Well, let's say 3 then. Apparently, lately on Magic Online, Jeskai Ascendancy is actually doing pretty well, and this is one way to go for it with green, with mana dorks, and especially Sylvan Carotid, which is a mana dork that they can't kill that easily only with mass removal or sacrifice effect. And this is something that we have seen a long time ago, but new cards in here that we haven't seen from that time. This for bonus cuteness points to get an extra turn with this. Sultai Charm, just a catch on card main deck, and I think there should be one more in the sideboard actually. Whispers of the Muse is sort of the card instead of the Thoughtscour. This deck doesn't kill with Fate Stitcher, so you don't need the milling from Thoughtscour. So if that is the case, you might as well play this, and sometimes just if the game stalls off, which probably never gonna cure with this deck, but maybe like in very rare situations, so you can like buy back it. But it's almost the same like Thoughtscour in this deck. Instant draw a card, 1 mana. You just need those cantrips for Ascendancy basically. And yeah, of course you have your Glittering Wish that gets you a lot of different stuff out of the sideboard. Why this deck is actually okay against control is because you have Swan Songs as a catch on 1 mana counterspell, and you can sometimes actually counter your own spell to get a creature, so that you can actually have a creature to go off with Ascendancy. So that's a cool thing that some might not think about. Of course, we're from the Glittering Wish to... well, no, you can't get it from Glittering Wish, I think. No, you can't. Well, Rachel for extra draw from the Wish. Paths for whatever. Flesh and Blood is a cool card with multiple applications. I think you play it so that if you can't get through with a creature, you just get this from Glittering Wish and you cast Blood, and you win because you have a giant creature on board. Because you have like one of the Ascendancies in the sideboard for the Wish. But the point about being resilient to control is this card. So they kill or counter your Ascendancy. Then you cast Wish, you get the Hope. Well, let's say you don't you already used up the Ascendancy from your sideboard and they killed it as well or countered it. So you can go Wish, get the Hope, cast Hope, get the Ascendancy from your gravity to your hand. So basically, if they counter or destroy Ascendancy a couple of times, it's not the end of the world. And then you have this version with Face Stitcher, which apparently is also still good. In addition to Ascendancy, also run Ascension, because why not? Because you have Bolt in your deck, probably that's why. And the nice thing about this deck is that while you have a lot of digging, you have Paths and Bolts and Reman's main deck. So that means you have a bit of interaction. You can pretend to be a weird control deck. Also, you can quickly charge up your Ascension and start like throwing bolts at like multiple creatures, etc. So you can uh, board clear that way. And but yeah, you have this weird combo finish that they might like never really see, because you can't play Ascendancy and go off in the same turn. I'm not sure which version I like more. I think I like them both. I probably like this one more because you have Young Paramancers and Mentors in the sideboard, which is a very sweet transformational sideboard kind of thing to play around all the potential hate. Yep. So that's what I wanted to show from this side. And then one last deck, the one I'm playing most of the time, Abs and Coco. And this list actually looks like it's very stocked, and it's probably something that I would just use up, except that maybe I don't want like this Liliana in here. I don't have like very good experience with it, so I'm not hot on that card. So you can cut that and maybe one other card, and then slice in a couple of Abrupt Decays if you don't want to run the main deck. And that's probably about it. I'm not I probably would play Thoughtseize instead of this color. Yeah. And I would probably play even Sin Collector on top of this thing. Because, yeah, there are combos in this world, but you do have Eidolon of Rhetoric for that kind of stuff. And this guy even runs like one Kateki, one Stony Silence. So you get that. Revoker shuts down some of the combos as well. So yeah, I like Sin Collector a lot. But I think in a wide meta you probably want Thoughtseize, and I don't think this is the time for this color. It's a catch-on card that can be flipped from Collected Company or found like from Corda Calling, for example, if you want to actually make sure that the coast is clear. Another good point of this list is that you run Archangel plus Spike Feeder main deck. I kinda like that idea because most of the time, like if you put it into your sideboard, there would be times when you think like, yeah, I should bring it, but I'm not sure like what I take out, etc. So to avoid that, you just slam it main deck. But then they might see it game 1 and then think that like with some Rest in Peace or Relic or Cage they're safe, but they're not gonna be. Because you still have that, but at the same time it's 2 slots in the sideboard, so that's a big problem. But I do believe that you want those in your sideboard, at least for now. Well, in your sideboard or in main deck, because there's gonna be extra count for Graveyard Hate because of the top tier combo. Plus it's still a good thing because there are quite a few decks that use a graveyard. Also, because of the combo and some other things, Gifts Ungiven is a good card again, and yeah, you have like Ascendancy and Storm decks, and you have some other funky decks, and it's also a good thing to have in the mirror if they have like Scouting News and play near, like, well, I don't give a rat's ass about that. But yeah, I like how his sideboard is pretty diverse and has everything for everything. Just a bunch of one-offs, but I think this is the way to go because we don't have that much data, and even if we do have some paper events, it would be very tricky. Right. So that's about it, folks, for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. So don't forget to subscribe. So there will be some article coming up soon, mostly about the picture you saw at the beginning. I'll try to actually spice it up and tell a few more things that I haven't mentioned today. I probably forgot something, so there is that. So look up on that. Check out brews.com. And yeah, if you're very a fan or you like Hearthstone, for example, as well, in addition to Magic, so check out twitch.tv/Brews, so we stream there from time to time. If you disagree on some of the points, or you think I missed some of the crucial points in here and in the previous video, let me know, because I'm not perfect, so there is that. I'll see you guys in the later videos. Goodbye, folks.